Hello, my beautiful stars. Welcome back to Path of Spirals Tarot. My name is Claire. Today we're going to be doing an intuitive reading with the Fountain Tarot to help identify areas in your life where there might be leakages and how you can patch that hole up to keep your energy field really strong. Now this could be about any facet of life. We'll be pulling some establishing cards. We'll kind of identify the issue. We'll find a resolution so that at the end of this, you're going to be feeling revitalized, hopeful, refreshed, and with a higher frequency and awareness than what you came into this reading with. That's always my goal at Path of Spirals. We have 3 glyphs I've made today, so you can choose. This is a pick a pile reading today. I've made these myself today. We have a UFO. We have a Venusian symbol. It's quite ionic and uterine. And we have, this was supposed to be a hourglass with the sand running through. So you can use your third eye and your deepest knowing wherever you feel pulled to listen to any one of the 3 readings. If you'd like to listen to all 3, I'm sure there's wisdom to be derived from all of them. It's entirely up to you. Without further ado, let's go for group 1. Now, aliens. How do you feel about those? The energy and the archetype of something that is other than who we are brings a lot of mystique and wonder. There's lots of people who have so many different stories about aliens. My personal view, as I have seen some things when it comes to this. I do believe that they're interdimensional. I don't think they're literally traveling physically from another star system. It's just my personal belief. But they're interdimensional the same way that like cryptids are interdimensional. But I have seen multiple occasions, I've seen them, but there was one that I saw up close and personal when I was in high school. And it was actually around this time of year. It was March. It was the indoor season of track and field. And I had just gotten my license some months prior. I was driving my mom's car back home. Okay. And the sky was super pink, and I lived where there was a lot of pines. I lived amongst the pines. So seeing a full picture of the sky was a little difficult because there's so many trees, and the area my family lived at the same time was not super mountainous. Getting a good view of the sky was a little difficult, especially like where all the houses were situated. It was a neighborhood. There were a lot of houses, but there's also a lot of trees. But I was driving back from my high school, only like a couple miles, if that, mile and a half, to get back to my parents' house. And there was this really big parking lot where there was it was assisted living, old folks home apartment complex with an abnormally large parking lot for how many people live there. You know how America is, like Walmart parking lots for every type of parking lot. At least there's always a place to park. So that gave way to a really large picture of the sky. The sky was pink. It was like this deep coral pink twilight sunset, but it was really pink, almost abnormally pink. And it was pink without a lot of clouds, which was also interesting. And I remember driving slowly. There was not a fast speed limit here, okay? Using my hands to tell the story, okay? I'm driving slowly, and I look up, and I crap you guys not. I see the most stereotypical UFO ever. It's huge. It is not just like this little thing up in the sky. It is covering all of the trees. And I remember I was in so much awe, I could not grab my phone to take a photo. And I don't know how long I was sitting there watching it, but it was hovering above the tree line closest to me in the parking lot. And it was really big, guys. It was really big. And then it moved its way away from the tree line and disappeared. And I drove home, and it was so insane that I saw this thing. Obviously, nobody believed me. I don't have anything to gain from telling this story. This isn't the only time I've seen stuff like this, okay? But this was the one time where these interdimensional beings showed themselves to me. I mean, not the actual beings themselves, just the craft that they were in. And it was very much like this. It was very Hollywood. There was nothing, I didn't eat anything weird that day. I was not sleep deprived. I had just had track practice, and I remember, I don't even know, time stretched on forever, but also within a matter of a few minutes. I can't recall whether or not there was lost time when I saw this thing, but it was very large, very saucer-like, lots of lights on top of it, silent, completely silent. There was no sound that it made, and then it moved away. There have been other times where I have seen and even chased things in the sky that like knew I was following it, multiple times. This was all when I was younger though, because then I moved away and I grew up, and I really haven't seen anything since. Not sure if I've been super open to seeing stuff like this since either. But leave it all to say, if you have an interesting UFO story, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Don't know why I was telling you this or prefacing the story of alienness with this reading that could potentially be entirely unrelated to this glyph, but I felt called, almost like I channeled this little glyph today. So let's see if it plays a role. If not, the reading should still be interesting, okay? We're using the Fountain Tarot today. This is sort of what I call my standard, quote unquote standard, RWS tarot, even if it's slightly different. Just for aesthetic purposes, you know, I'm a Sun and Moon Libra. We're very into aesthetics. Leo rising, okay? The silver gilding on this is like cosmological. I love it. I love the holographicness of it. It is very alien. We love to see it. Okay, group one. So we call in source energy, the highest energies, highest timelines, however you connect to your source energy. Totem animals, my helpful ancestors connecting to yours consensually across Kairos time. Okay, which means this reading will find you whenever it is meant to cross your path. You'll know this reading is for you if your soul feels expansive and you feel energetically like you should lean in closer, and you just sort of feel like you're meant to be here now. That's how these spiritual readings work. I see a card. Seven of Coins in reverse. Okay, Seven of Pentacles. This is an establishing card for us today. You're feeling drained because you've reached a certain point in your life with your career, your external world, that feels a bit stagnant and stuck. You know, this upright can be hopeful, like you have built something, but you're waiting to see what becomes of it, right? There is still a sense of hope with this card, especially in isolation. But if I see it in reverse, there's a blockage. So you are feeling frustrated, feeling maybe unable to find a solution, a workaround, wanting to maybe give up before you've let whatever has been growing reach its fruition, okay? There is a mindset here, and maybe there's also an external pressure that's making you feel like you might need to shift away from where you've been with your work. A detour, I'm seeing almost like external circumstances have you feeling like you need to get back to the drawing board. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that that's the establishing energy here, okay? What more can we know about the situation? It is draining you too, so I should know that this is something that's draining you. It's on your mind a lot, and you're not sure what direction to go. Where should you go with it? Well, we have the Wheel of Fortune upright. We love that. That means good karma. Wherever you fall on this wheel is affording you privilege to make a change, to shift out of where you've been. And there are, obviously, if it's major arcana, the winds are turning the wheel regardless. So you have to see, when I see it upright, it tells me that where you're falling on that wheel is beneficial to where you're going. Okay, so it would tell me, and I've felt this with the reading, that it is right for you to shift away from whatever you've been doing, because it's almost like what you were doing, it gave you experiences. It helped you sort of, you know, sniff around, if you will, to sort of figure out with your senses where to put your energy. But you sort of reached a point where, okay, you kind of got to the lesson, you learned the lesson. It was almost like a seasonal lesson. And you're going to take the internal energy of this experience and take it with you as the wheel turns. So these cards are already confirming that you will be doing something else / universe has something else in store for you. If you have the feeling something else is coming, open yourself up to it, okay? What else can we learn about this situation? Page of Cups. As the wheel turns, there's going to be a resistance emotionally, right? Page of Cups upright is always a virtuous and inquisitive, playful card when it comes to your feelings and transmuting imaginative spiritual energy. There's going to be a blockage. You're being met with a blockage because you are here, you're meant to learn a new lesson. You're being put into alien territory and being confronted with a type of energy. Like this is it's eventually going to turn up, right? But you need to kind of figure out between here to here, what's the blockage for you within your feelings? Trying something new. There's a little bit of nostalgia, beginner energy, imaginative play that's blocked. Why is it blocked? Are you feeling like something's coming up for you? Like I'm almost feeling like our repressed memory vibe is coming in here. What can we know about this? What's going on with that? Why is there a blockage? Okay, there's a blockage almost because of a relationship. And there's good energy afoot. Okay, so something tells me that although I'm pulling this upright, okay, I want to pull the card. What's crossing this relationship energy? This is like obviously emotional and spiritual fulfillment, but that's there's a lesson that you haven't learned with this. Okay, so there's something about an emotional relationship, a spiritual relationship with somebody that has yet to be fully learned. Because if I pull cards in reversed and I'm pulling the preceding card, that's a confirmation to me that there's a lesson you have yet to learn here. So you need to go to a relationship. What's this relationship? Is there anything we can know about this relationship that you need to reflect more on? Okay. 3 of Wands. Okay. That's a pulling of creative fire and resources. There's a strain almost. It's like there's something, the relationship that is at play here is requiring a lot of your energy. It's almost like you have to address that first. See, what does my book say about the 3 of Wands? Anything more that stands out to me here? Focused effort, strength, foresight, common sense, dedication, and success. We didn't pull it in reverse, but I'm going to read the reversals. Negligence, naive expectations, work unrewarded. Okay, so I feel like there's focused effort on a relationship. It's almost like you have to kind of tie some things up with that relationship. And we say where things are feeling a little bit drained. I feel like there is this lesson within this relationship coming in around you. It feels like an emotional relationship. It feels like love. It feels domestic. It feels somebody in the same house as you. Requires a lot. Oh, I'm also seeing like home care. Oh, something's coming in. Like, are you giving care? Like, not just like, like a wife, but it could also be home care. Like you're giving like round the clock care to somebody potentially. The energy of, or just imagine like what kind of focus effort it takes to show up for that relationship. That's the depth and the heaviness of that relationship. That's sort of kind of leading to these 2 cards. But the Wheel of Fortune is still something I want to have in the forefront here. Okay. With all this at play, what cards can we pull that would help indicate a shift, a change, and a lesson completed? Oh, the cards are moving quick. Okay. We have Ace of Swords, new information, but blocked. Okay. No, I see it. 2 of Cups, more relational energy. I want to pull one more. Okay, I see it. 9 of Coins. Ace of Swords, 2 of Cups, 9 of Coins. Okay. I'm seeing something about boundaries within this relationship, okay? If we want these cards to all be like the Wheel of Fortune to help everything kind of turn upright here, I want to see what this looks like with we know this relationship dynamics here, so I'm going to put that away. We want the Page of Coins to be upright. This gets to go upright when we've learned these 3 lessons, okay? So let's pull these Wheel of Fortune stuff out of the frame for a minute. because we're going to reach the resolution. We've kind of identified the drain physically, mentally, emotionally showing up in a relationship, but there are shadow dynamics there that are leaking your energy. Okay, a truth that has not been said, something you're not being honest with yourself about. These were also here. There's a lot of emotional energy at play here. Probably because this was reversed. When this gets upright, then there's going to be this swooping in of this energy. Conflict, so there's going to be some type of conflict, argument, installation of boundaries. I feel almost like your energy is going to be pulled someplace else outside of the home, outside of your domestic life, outside of your responsibilities. But it also indicates that, and I almost feel like there's like you just have had to have a conversation, an inquisitive and open conversation with somebody that you live with in order for this to create harmony. I almost feel like you just have had a lump in your throat about speaking with these individuals or this person in your life that takes up more energy than you realize, okay? And you almost seem like the person that just almost willingly puts yourself in the position to be taking care of everybody around you, and that's also something you choose to do, okay? And I feel like part of why you do that is because you don't like a quiet room, you don't like silence, you have a hard time living with peace and quiet, and so you always have the ball rolling, okay? But the Wheel of Fortune, which we pulled here, wants to roll, and it's only going to roll when you stop rolling that ball. So there's almost like you need to stop and be more at peace with your emotions, be open and receptive and inquisitive both with how you're feeling internally and how you communicate outwardly with this person, that individual in your life that takes up a lot of that space, okay? The outcome, the penultimate outcome here is the 9 of Coins, which is an individual, like somebody who on their own feels fulfilled in their external world. You get there by not blocking yourself. And there's almost like this external situation is going to shift. It could be a new job. Like your energy is going to be needed outside of the dynamic that you've been living in. Like you've almost been living in this bubble. And I think that there's more of this emotional, childlike, virtuous blocked energy that was blocked, right? Because this was upside down. That once you kind of confront that, because it feels big and scary to you, it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes the thing is, the fear we have about the thing is more fear-inducing than the thing itself. You have a fear of your own fear. Because we see almost like there's going to be a healthier dynamic with this person, less codependence, less enmeshment, and the other person wants it too. It's almost like they haven't maybe felt like articulating it, but it's almost like this when this was blocked, it's like neither of you really knew how to have that conversation. But it's saying like the time is now. It's going to be okay to have that conversation. Things are going to be fine between the both of you, and you are going to have this sense of freedom. You know, I see this energetically, like the way you'll move through the world is going to be a little bit more autonomous, a little bit more balanced for yourself. And that's really great because you started here, stagnant, not really sure where things are going. You had the Wheel of Fortune coming in and forcing the situation to move. And then it creates inquisitiveness. It allows new breakthroughs within this communication with this person, right, that you've put a lot of energy and focus into. It creates more balance, kind of patches up that leak, that energy leak for yourself, and this is where you end up on the other side. So this message is all kind of a wake-up call that you need to not fear being open. Just lead with inquisitiveness and childlike wonder. Don't lead with resentment, old trauma patterns, because some of this sort of blocked of energy feels like it doesn't have so much to do with the person that's in your life currently. They're just kind of like a symptom, or the way that you're showing up in that dynamic is symptomatic of something that's more in the root of who you are. And that's what you need to be more open to exploring in order for the rest of these cards to sort of play out. I'm not sure. This Wheel of Fortune could be like a new job. It's like, I just feel your energy's getting called somewhere else. And it's a good thing. You have to put your focus somewhere else. And it doesn't mean that you don't still care about this person. This person's not going to take it personally at the end of it. Like, they're going to learn. Okay? Especially because we pulled these cards upright. There was really no reversal in the connection, right? It's more about you. These are like internal blockages. So, with that in mind, I'm going to leave it here for group 1. Put me in this timeline. Everybody wants to feel like 9 of coins. 9 of pentacles. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hello, group 2. Welcome to your reading with our Venusian energy. Let's find an establishing card. Because today we're trying to identify the drainage, the leakage. How could we sort of tighten up the energy around you, cleanse the aura, make the vibes more immaculate in your life? The Tower. Ooh, spicy. Spicy. Okay, so the theme is sudden, swift change and fallout. That's our establishing card here. Okay? Put it over here. That's our establishing card. What dimension of life? What more could we know about this? 2 of Wands. Okay, sort of like a balancing of one's creative energy, passion just in general. That could also be something within, I guess, kind of maybe relational. Is it relational? Oh, Queen of Wands. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're getting a relational reading here. Is draining you. Okay. Oh, yeah. Love it. 9 of Coins is sort of a, all right, who is he? What is that? That's how you're doing. Okay. Now the Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords. We have Wands here. Queen of Swords in reverse. I would read that a bit as you're not a widow, but this is typically, like, Queen of Swords is known for being the widow within certain contexts, but a sort of divorced widowing energy is draining you in a sense, or like you're kind of at this juncture where that's where you're at. Although I don't necessarily feel like this was like a lifetime partner. Doesn't feel like this was a relationship that lasted super long, especially with the 2 of Wands being there and things just kind of falling apart. Whenever I see a Knight of Swords, it's giving F-boy. Somebody who thought they were saying things sweetly, because it's both swords, okay? But you being the queen, you're more initiated, more mature. That's always how it is, right, with women. Knight of Swords, they're always ready to take action, but they have no idea what they're doing. And this one was saying a lot of things because he wanted to appear a certain way. But when it's blocked and it's upside down, what a mess. Okay, so the Tower card is what's cleansing your energy because you've been drained by him. The Queen of Swords upside down is you drained. And this was a situation where, like, he was saying things in such a way that it really had you trying to imagine it working out. Yeah. Right? Look at, like, what he's balancing. He's, like, balancing, like, a little bubble / glass bubble. Fragile things. Fragile, fleeting things. Holding it in one hand, mind you, with 2 chapstick wands. Okay? So that was kind of the energy. It was like, I sort of feel almost like the things he was saying had you sort of balancing a lot of internal energies. And I was feeling a little bit suspicious. I feel like you weren't getting a lot of clarity. Things were being said, but the actions were not lining up, right? Thoughts, words, actions all need to check out. They need to be balanced in the checkbook, right? The accounts need to be balanced with the person for them to have integrity. He wasn't having it. And it was draining you because there was still something about the allure of a knight. Like, whenever I see this come up, like, there was something about it that you were really hoping it was going to be a certain way, right? And so you gave it a go. But then this is all kind of giving me after the fact energy. You're licking your wounds. Not only are your guards up, but, like, she looks even more guarded upside down. And he's kind of running away. You have sort of, like, things have kind of turned upside down, and he's kind of going away in the other direction. Now, with this Venusian energy, it's giving a little bit of spell work. I'm kind of wondering, what have you done to help balance yourself again so you can feel upright? Have you done some things? Have you done some spells? What have you done here? I feel like you sitting in union with yourself and doing what you need to do energetically to to feel like that baddie again. He just kind of came in and said a lot of things and swung that sword around. And that's, you know what I mean? He was swinging that sword around. And it had you being like, oh, I kind of like this. But I feel like it happened, it kind of crashed so quickly. But the Tower card says this really had a big emotional fallout for you. It really had you stopping and retreating. And that isn't what you wanted. But in the end of all of this, I sort of feel like this energy moves so quickly that like you're almost just to the other side of it. And the only card that we pulled that's like a positive clarifying card here is the Knight of Coins, is that you're going to be on your own, but thriving and doing better. So sort of like you've been drained by a lesson learning experience with another person. Something I feel compelled to say that like the Knight of Swords doesn't just have to be a man. I also feel like this could have been weird, obsessive person around you or something. Person who wasn't what they seemed. That could also have been like a roommate. I'm seeing like has a really big fallout. Somebody that got close to you, right? Could have been a freaky roommate too. When I see the Two of Wands though, there's this sort of passionate energy at play there. So that can be like a really good, like a love bombing situation, like a friendship. I've had girls do that to me too. Never ever, if it's a man, a woman, platonic, relationship, emotional, somebody new coming in who has this energy, has you contemplating things so quickly and almost wanting to make some serious thing happen with that other person. If it's happening fast, it's not real. People shouldn't move like that. Nobody should make you want to move with like an activated nervous system to get closer to them. That's like a love bombing energy. It's a manipulative energy. It's cheap. It's from Temu. It's not cute. Okay? But I sort of feel like your guides, right? I'm feeling like whatever your guides are, pulled that Tower moment real fast before you could get overly invested, and they were like running away. It harmed you a little bit too. I do see that, and I'm really sorry. I want to extend that. I pay witness to however that affected you. You really just never know a person. You just never know. Like that's the big takeaway. The drainage is a little bit of naivete. Just believing that people can be good. Like can't just people show up and be normal? I feel you. Can't they be? Why do they gotta be weird? Why are people so weird? I totally feel you on that, okay? We live in a weird world, weird times. Entropy of the world is toilet bowl energy sometimes, yes. So just know, we're also at a time here, this is a timeless reading, okay? But if you're watching it around the time that this is being uploaded in February to March, end of March 2026, now is a time to really be like her. Like have your guards up, stay home, don't overextend yourself, don't give too much of yourself, and don't let too much in too quickly. And don't let it in to such an extent that you're contemplating changing your whole life's trajectory or where you're putting the energy that matters to you, putting it into somebody too quickly. Never do it, okay? Seems like your guides are here, letting the Tower card just go whoosh, so that what's left is you and her. And that's ultimately within your control. That's the most, it's the best place to really end up at the end of all of this, right? And then also I see a card that we should pull, which is the Fountain card. I want to pull that up, right? Just being spiritually connected and being with you. That's kind of like the outcome is let that energy fall away. And if you really want to get over it and you want your subconscious to listen to you, like whoever that was, whatever that was, don't dwell. Like sit and like literally write and affirm this. Make a spell about it. A sense of confusion. Not identifying with that situation. Not letting it define you. Not letting yourself stay wounded longer than you need to. Take on an air of confusion. Why was it me? It could never be me. You know what I mean? Then it dissolves. If one sits and just like ruminates and like, oh, why did that happen? And that person's so weird. No, that's the trap. You actually have to stop and be like, I don't identify with this situation. I actually know nothing about this. This energy visited me, but it was like somebody telling me that my name was Bob and I had blue hair. Feel like Bob with the blue hair. Feel like somebody's coming up to you and being like, So you're from North Sentinel Island. You vacation on Snake Island. You have 7 toes on each of your feet. Your hair grows in reverse in your Benjamin Button. That's the level of confusion that you should try to emulate whenever weird situations like that come on. And I swear, it dissipates. It doesn't exist, and then this is kind of your baseline again. Because this is who you really are. You know, situations are weird, but be confused by it. Don't overly identify with it. And then it literally falls away. I've had some weird neurotic people come into my life, and they try to take up space in my auric field, and all I need to do is just be confused. I'm like, huh? I'm sorry. I'm like, you're moving through a crowd of people and none of it matters because that's not your goal. That's not your aim, and that's not where your focus is. Take on that energy with people like that because they should not take anything more. Okay? That is group 2's reading. All right, group 3. Last but certainly not least, let's find an establishing card to show us where you're being drained. Need to shuffle these a little bit more though. Where are you being drained? And how are we going to patch up that leak? Ooh, these cards, they feel, I'm getting butterfingers. They really are jumping at me. They got something to say. It feels like piranhas jumping out of the water on my hands as I'm shuffling. Interesting, sort of sharp energy. The Hierophant in reverse. So our establishing card is a major arcana that has to do with breaking away from the paradigms of established paths. It's giving a little bit of black sheep. It's giving a little bit of resistance to the norm, quote unquote norm, pushing against the systems that are in place, dropping out of school, taking, feeling like the vocational work that you were choosing is not that much of a vocation after all. Something like that is the establishing energy. Okay. Let's see what's going on. What more can we derive about this? Okay, just pulled her in my last reading case, so I would feel this indicates you, a person who knows black. Again, it's sort of giving like the black sheep. It's you. You know exactly why you feel the way you feel about this. Okay. But you're in a situation where you've had to kind of like transition out of this energy and it's been draining. Okay. 5 of Swords. Okay, something tells me that you've broken the news about not wanting to follow this certain path, and the outcome here has been the 5 of Swords reversed. So I feel like it's a good card for you. It shows me that you really are the Queen of Swords. You're very emotionally intelligent. It tells me that there's people around you that haven't liked hearing this, and you've been choosing to kind of lay low and just stick to your guns and say like, almost like this card, this glyph is popping out to me. You're like, life is precious. I don't have all the time in the world to continue on a path that's not really suiting me. And you don't really care about proving to people that it's the right decision or not. You don't feel like fighting with anybody or getting much of anybody's input about it. But still, I think there's like an energetic external pushback you've had to put energy into sort of avoiding. Okay? Because we're trying to look more for the drain here. You seem pretty sure of yourself though, so that's cool. What more could we know about this situation? I want to pull one clarifying card here. Okay. Ace of Wands. Okay. Something tells me that there's been a new input. Aces are always so great and so positive and so forward momentum leaning. You found something else. And that new direction you want to take overrides the ego or the need to prove to anybody. Like the idea is actually really exciting. Ooh, what are you up to? What are you up to? Okay, so this energy took up more of your focus. I love that. So I feel like it's just this transition in general. You've made the decision. The decision itself hasn't been draining. Other people's opinions haven't been draining you. The new idea is so good that like you're more focused on that. Wow, what a mature queen you are. I can feel it. Okay. 7 of Swords in reverse. That also means, I guess, Depends how you want to read this. The swords in reverse can be a little bit suspicious. My immediate thought is there's no self-deception here. Because like this can be kind of like lying to yourself, a blockage in the lie. Not maybe, I think there also could be, think about an unlearned lesson from the Six of Swords. I feel almost like before you start this thing, you need to just like take a break, take a beat. I'm not saying a full gap year, but maybe just take a little time. Like there's a transition happening here. The decision has been swift and blunt and you're ready for that change, but it's almost like just take a minute for yourself. There's almost like this interim period where you get to just like rest and reset. Soak that time in, because this new energy is going to have you moving again very quickly. But again, you're being honest with yourself. Like you're not afraid of the swords at all, Queen of Swords. Like you handle conflict so well in this situation. And maybe you just need that reminder that like a lot of people would not be handling this transition and other people's opinions of it the way that you are. I think that's really great. That's super noble. Ooh. Okay. The Hermit in reverse. Okay, I'm going to put this on top now. Okay. Once you've kind of taken a beat, you're going to be going out. I sort of feel like you're going back to school. You're going to start a new career. You're going back out there though. But since you're the Queen of Swords, you are naturally a hermit, but you know that you kind of need to go back out there and network a little bit or something. Feels like there's networking happening. Okay, and this is all the stuff now. We're talking about all the stuff that's going to help patch up any energy leaks. Okay, so you're going to be starting something new, socializing strategically. You're a strategic queen. Like you're going out there because you're going to get that bag and you're going to take care of yourself and cover all your bases. And again, another card, another 5. So you had 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands, also reversed. You also know how to navigate a situation of conflict. Other people crab in the bucket, jealousy. You're flying under the radar. Girl, you are. I want to know, who are you? Who are you? You're somebody that knows exactly how to move through the room. You don't need this reading. Maybe you just need the ego boost. Is there anything else we can really say about this? I feel that like so long as you just continue to like not participate in like paying attention to what other people think, which you're already doing, laying low. It's a lot of laying low strategically. Going out strategically, drawing back strategically is how you're going to continue to not have leakages. Okay, last card. 8 of Cups. In the end, we're still holding on to something and containing something, because naturally this would be about letting go. But in the end, holding on and holding out through this transition is going to be the thing that helps contain your energy. So this is a transitory time in your life, but I love to see that the transition was built on clarity, knowing yourself, being super strategic in how you move through the world. I'd love to know you. I don't think you need to know much else. Just keep holding on, keep being strategic, and don't listen to other people whose lives you wouldn't want to have. A lot of people who move these weird ways, you wouldn't want to be them, right? You know this. This Hermit card, I sort of feel, okay, you're going to go out and really make something of yourself with the wisdom that you have and with the direction that you want to take. Oh, it feels super fiery. It feels super fiery and directed and pointed. We had a lot of swords as well. Okay? You're just drained by the transition, because transitions are draining no matter what. But your container is on holding out, laying low, playing your cards right, and you're going to be fine. Okay? Time is on your side. Thank you, Group 3. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Path of Spirals. My name is Claire. If you enjoyed this reading today, please feel free to share with a friend. Leave a comment if you resonated with your reading. What about it did you resonate with? Which glyph did you have any relation to the glyphs that I drew? If you'd like to connect with me, I'm here on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, Path of Spirals. You can find me on TikTok, Path of Spirals Tarot. You can email me, pathofspiralstarot@gmail.com, for business inquiries. I'm everywhere at Path of Spirals or Path of Spirals Tarot. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.